Hey guys, hopefully you guys all had a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Good to see you back. Just a couple quick injury updates. Still no Derek or Alvin today. As far as practice goes, same thing with Eric and Lucas. It doesn't look like Eric, and I mentioned Lucas the other day. Is probably going to miss extended time. Looks like Eric's going to be out as well this week. Everybody else on there, all the injury guys. Looks like Nathan Shepard will be, he was out there today. He's coming, he's trending in the right direction. Same thing with MVS. He looks like he's trending in the right direction as well. And then, we're still taking it day to day with Chris Olave naturally with his situation. So that's kind of where we are from an injury standpoint. And again, looking forward to the opportunity. Short week, you got to get refocused, kind of put that one, learn from that one, put that one behind us, and move forward because it's going to be here quickly and before we know it. So. With that, I'll take some questions.
Can you just kind of walk the schedule this week? It was a little bit different, obviously.
Yeah.
Holiday coming up from Monday. Just kind of, how is it different? And how's it kind of?
Yeah, in a ways, we're kind of treating it like a little bit like a Thursday night game, if you will, because we got back early, however you want to say it, late early on New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve. I'm going to get my holidays mixed up. And so, obviously we have to have a player's day off. I just felt like some guys came in here and got a lift and treatment and all that stuff on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day was the day off. And then today was kind of a Wednesday install. Tomorrow will be a Thursday install. Saturday will be a combination Friday, Saturday. So from an install standpoint, we really just miss our situational stuff that we usually get on a Saturday. So it's kind of we're going to cram Friday and Saturday into kind of a joint deal. That's usually what we do when we play a Thursday game. So it's very, very similar to that short week. Traveling back, obviously, late at night and all that, mixed in with the holiday, just felt like that was the right thing to do.
You mentioned on Tuesday that the goal would be to maybe get Derek out there to kind of game out. How things might look. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, his grip strength gets a little bit better every day. It's improving. I know I sound like a broken record when I come in here and talk about him. It's really the same deal. It's a gradual improvement. The biggest thing would be able to see if we can on Friday or Saturday get him simulate what a game would look like. If that can happen, then great. We can get him out there. Spencer took all the reps today with the ones. He'll start, the game. If Derek's unable to, which right now is looking like the situation, but hopefully we'll see where Derek's at the next couple of days. It is, he's still working his tail off to get back. Same thing with Alvin. Both those guys really have the mindset of they'd like to play again in these last couple of weeks. So I appreciate and respect that. So that's kind of where they're at.
Rizzi, what's been Alvin's progress? Is he pretty much still where he was last week? Or?
Yeah, no, he actually, I saw him today doing his rehab this morning. He was in really good spirits. It's going to be a matter of, I don't know, on this short week if we have a realistic shot, but I think he's got a very realistic shot for the following week.
When you're balancing bringing an injured starter back with the opportunity to look at some younger players, do you have to treat each case differently, or do you have like a blanket rule if this is the case, the starter goes?
Yeah, I'll just use Alvin and Derek as examples. those guys have been pretty adamant about, trying to work their way back and play again this season. I think they've earned that right, quite frankly, with their leadership. They're both captains. And so, we'll see what happens with them. I think it is a case-by-case basis. I think I mentioned a bunch of times with Derek, like if we feel like at any point that we're putting him in harm's way, we feel like it could get worse or he can't function at a high level, then at that point it doesn't make any sense to me or him or anybody. But at the same time, if both those guys can get back and they both want to play, and I respect the heck out of the fact that they both want to play, then we'll do that. But I think it all depends on as you mentioned, kind of an individual basis. If you got a guy like Eric McCoy, for example, who could he maybe gut it out here, maybe get back, in that situation, that's really not going to be the case. I think Eric and Lucas are going to miss these next couple of games. So it's really, take it as they come, case by case.
So Eric would be likely done for the next 2 days?
I don't see Eric coming back right now. I don't see that happening. I'm going to sit here and, as I mentioned to you guys, right now it's non-surgical. So it looks like we avoided that part of it, so you're never going to rule anybody completely out, but it's going to probably be a stretch, to be honest.
You see from Olave to get him
back on the field? Is there something kind of?
Yeah, so we're giving him a little bit more every day. It's a little bit of a challenge this week because we're doing a lot of walk-through tempo with the short week. So we'll do a little bit tomorrow where we kind of amp it up and get some speed going. So that's the one day this week where he can, as I mentioned last week, he's got to get back to the cardio thing as well. He feels really good. He's in great spirits. I just had another good conversation with him today about everything. He's kind of chomping at the bit a little bit, but at the same time, no different than the other guys. Just want to be smart with that. So, we can also simulate different things with him. We may bring him out tomorrow or Saturday and kind of run some routes at a different tempo than everybody else, just kind of some routes on air to get his cardio back, things like that. But he's in a good place at the moment.
How difficult is it to shift the mindset of trying to make the playoffs and then just trying to get into playing to compete and to get other guys opportunities?
Listen, when that is still out there in front of you, like it's been for us up till this week, when the possibility of the postseason is still out there, it's still definitely a motivating factor. I'm not going to sit up here and BS you guys about that. No different than the players. And then when that gets taken away from you, listen, it's a goal every year. One of the goals is you come into the season, wanting to make the tournament, wanting to make the postseason. And so when that goal gets kind of, when you're unable to reach that, it's certainly a letdown. At the same time, you guys have asked me before about the last game or practice today or anything like that. You wouldn't have any idea coming out to practice today, watching our guys work and compete, that we were any different than any other week this year. So, listen, is it disappointing? Yeah, naturally it's disappointing because that's one of our goals every year. But the guys have handled that, I think, well. I know some people look at last week's score and say, oh, well, that must have been a reason they didn't, they got eliminated the day before and all that. That really wasn't the reason for that score. So I still saw a really good effort from a lot of guys, and I expect the same thing this Sunday.
With that being said, Sunday, last home game in the Dome, what's the importance of putting on your best performance there?
Yeah, listen, I just said when we broke the team down on the field, it's been a while since we've played a complete game, all three phases, kind of in sync. Everybody playing their peak performance. So, for our last game at home, that would be a great opportunity for us to do that. All three, regardless of who's playing, all three phases working together, playing in sync, playing complementary football. And it is our last. Our fans deserve to our fans have been great. I got to be honest with you, really, since I've taken over, the fan support has been phenomenal for me individually and our team. And it's always nice when you're playing at home to give back to the fans and give them one last, something good to watch and something good to look at, some exciting football, no doubt.
The situation being what it is, and the kicker on the practice squad, Charlie Smith,
Yeah.
is it a situation where maybe you consider getting him a shot at an NFL game, maybe over the final 2 weeks? And obviously, it's not going to be an easy proposition to get him live reps under normal circumstances.
Yeah, I don't think Charlie's any different than every single guy in the practice squad. We have conversations daily about everybody and who do we want to see maybe get some work in these games and who's up and available. We got obviously have some moving parts with injuries, and you can only elevate so many guys per week. You're only allowed to have 2 standard elevations from the practice squad, so it requires getting a guy to the 53. I think in a perfect world, you'd have all these guys you're able to elevate maybe at times. But there are restrictions roster-wise. There's only so many guys you can do that with. But listen, I think Blake Ruby's had a really good year. In fairness to him, and in fairness to his professionalism has been unbelievable. And so no knock on Charlie whatsoever. But I think Charlie's time is down the road.
So isn't it with the international program, he doesn't count to the regular practice squad limit? Because he's part of the international program.
That is accurate. He counts on the practice squad, but if you have an international player, you get 1 additional. So instead of having 16, we have 17 because we have an international player. That's correct.
Yeah, but if he was elevated at some point, this is probably kind of an esoteric rule, but could he still be an extra guy on the practice squad if he went back that way?
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't. You can still elevate that international player. You just have the ability to have the extra international player. So instead of having 53 and 16, you have 53 and 17. So essentially, you have 70 guys in the building. It's just an advantageous thing for the international players. So there's a number of teams throughout the league that have that guy. There's been some other teams that have actually elevated that player. The Giants come to mind. I think they had a kicker earlier in the year when a guy got hurt that they elevated their international guy. The only rule that's different is that you just have an additional guy in the practice squad. The elevation rules are still the same.
You've been really forthright about your career ambitions, and you know, acknowledging that this is in some way an audition. So what do you, how do you hope the people who would be evaluating you would view wins and losses in the circumstance that you're in? Like what, would you hope that there'd be more like the visual of the product oriented than the actual record, or what do you?
I think like anybody, you want to be evaluated on the complete body of work, no different than the players. You know, unfortunately, when there's wins and losses, no one ever asks about the circumstances. So there's wins and losses. That's what they are when you're a coach, and that's when they are when you're a team, right? As the old saying goes, your record is what your record is, and you are what your record is. And you know, listen, I think that when people look at, since I've taken over, I would hope that everybody would just take into account the full body of work. I think there's a lot of things we're doing really, really well, and there's certainly things we got to improve on, like every football team. But, you know, it certainly goes into more than just the wins and the losses. I understand the question. And so I think that, you know, we put our best foot forward here every day, and I think that that's been proven so far. But you know, I'm just really worried about this Sunday. So we'll do the same thing this week.
With it being the fourth year in a row that the team misses the playoffs, how do you want the team to channel the frustration and what was their reaction when they realized that was the fake, more or less?
I'm sorry, would you mind repeating that? I apologize.
Missing the playoffs the fourth year in
Yeah.
a row, when you realize that, you know, how do you want guys to, I guess, channel that frustration and I guess the initial reactions to it?
It's not about the frustration to me. It's about we're all professionals here. And so, yeah, listen, as I mentioned before, is it disappointing that the playoffs are no longer, you know, an option for us? Naturally, absolutely, 100% yes. But the expectation is still the accountability thing, the 111 thing, all that still comes into play every day. You know, when the guys walk through the door here every day, you still expect them to be professional, accountable, come in with a great attitude, work hard, and give back to, again, we mentioned the fans. You know, our goal every week is to go out there and put the best product on the field and to win a game and to put a best product on there for the New Orleans Saints fans. Period. Yeah. You know, so the expectation doesn't change whether or not we're going to be involved in the postseason or not.
How much do you think, there's feeling, I think, in pro sports that after a series of years not making the postseason, that the kind of window closes on the established core of the team, and that there's going to be a lot of changes. And so, how do you address with players how to handle this look at this more as a career opportunity than worrying about any kind of dismantling?
Yeah, the real answer to that is I really haven't even crossed that bridge yet. I'm really just concentrating on the Raiders. We have a short week, holiday week. It's a lot of distractions going on as there is. And so really just trying to keep the focus on that. I think those individual conversations happen at the end of the year. I think our roster is very mixed with you know, veteran players and younger players. We still have a number of young guys that are playing out there. We have very few of some of those veteran guys sprinkled in. And I think all those conversations are for, you know, after the last game and really just not keeping the focus on that at all. The bottom line is when these guys go out there every day, I mentioned the circumstances, when someone puts the film on and watches this week's game against the Raiders, there's not a footnote at the bottom and says this is the circumstances. That's their body of work. That's their professional resume, and they're putting that out there on film. And so no different than the coaching staff, the players is the same thing. So they're going to get evaluated, whether young, old, or in the middle somewhere. Their you know, video resume is their video resume. And so someone's going to watch that film, whether it's in this building or somewhere else, and that's what they're putting on you know, on the film. So I think that's from the professional side of it. It's really what I was referring to before.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.